Oh. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayana. Hari Om and good evening from Tampa. Yesterday I was chatting with someone I had met, and he was saying that there are no absolute truths. And he asked me what my opinion of that was. And I shared that if you took away existence from the multiverse would go away. So that is an absolute truth. We call that Sat. I shared, no one has ever experienced their non-existence. One is ever aware. So that too is an absolute truth. We call this Chit. And he agreed. And then he was sharing. But then there's all the stories that are man-made. All of the rituals that people make up. And he used the word mythology. And so the premonition of all of that, or the presumption of all of that is, this is all a myth. All of us, as we're hearing this, are thinking, that's not us, that's not us. Are we sure? That's not us. As long as we believe Bhagwan is a man, is a human, then there will only be hopelessness. As long as we think God is like us, there will only be hopelessness. Then we may not use the word mythology, but certainly we feel that all of this is mythology. This division that Bhagwan, who is infinite, is like us, shows our ayukta personality. That the intellect is in one place, the mind is in one place, our mouths are in one place, our bodies are in one place. There's disintegration in our understanding. Wherever there's ayukta, there is sangata. Kata means challenges. Today I was in intense traffic. So kata, all of us, we experience traffic, we experience poor weather, we experience demanding relatives. But sangata is when you treat that challenge as a problem. The more yukta one is, the more kata comes and goes. The more ayukta one is, the more sangata there is. For someone who believes that Bhagwan is a human, that is their ayukta personality, and so they're always in problems. We are in a course to systematically study who God is. What's God's nature? What's God's role and responsibilities? so that we know Bhagwan as Bhagwan. And that brings us the most integration, it brings us the most hope. In chapter 16, we studied divine and demonic qualities, also known as wealths, inner wealths. And the virtue that we focused on was abhaya. Abhaya means the one who is fearless. But let's lift this up to abhayankara. Abhayankara is another name for Bhagwan Shiva, Bhagwan Shankara. Abhaya means the one who is fearless. Abhayankara is the one who can create or teach fearlessness. Now, what is Bhagwan Shiva's teaching? Virtues. What else is Sanatana Dharma other than, as I've mentioned in many cases, love development, virtue development, self-development? To have these divine inner wealths is to find the divinity, to understand that we are not human either. We too are Bhagwan. This is a beautiful chapter, chapter 16, on the divine and the demonic, because it shows the relevance of religion. Religion is relevant when one feels that they have two personalities within their experience. Even in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, many times Bhagavan Krishna will say, the Atma is to be lifted by the Atma, or the Atma is lowered by the Atma. How is that possible if there's only one Atma? There he's talking about the division in our personality. In the lesson, Guruji highlighted that asatya, that is, living a lie, is when there is a split between the knower and the doer. As an example, I know that I should be a morning person. I know I shouldn't overeat. I know I should be patient despite challenges. I'm the knower, but do I follow what I know? Am I also the doer of what I know? Someone who's living a lie, there's a split there. And what's dangerous about such living is that once you start, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. The first time I won't say tell a lie, but the first time we over-exaggerate, we all exaggerate too, I'm being generous here, over-exaggerate. The first time we do it, and we feel no one got hurt, so the next time we add more, until what we're saying is a complete lie. No? That split, if not corrected right away, keeps on growing. Whereas satya, living the truth, is when what we are thinking, what we are speaking, what we are acting is based on drashta, that I've seen this, or shruta, I've heard this in an authoritative way, or anumita, I've experienced this myself. Seen, heard, experienced. When you think and speak and act in such a way, there's more and more integration, there's more and more yukta, alignment between the intellect and mind and body. So ask yourself, what I'm highlighting here is, ask yourself, are you living the lie? Or are you living the truth? What you think, what you speak, what you say, is it based on your hearing, your seeing, and your experiencing? Or is there a division there? I know this, but I don't follow. Fair enough. Our Bhagavad Gita course is a reality check. You can call this whatever you want. You can feel whatever you want about this. But the real impact of this course is for this to be a reality check of whether we're living in reality or in an illusion. We move on to chapter 17, and this also is part of the appendix to Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 16 highlights virtues, divine and demonic. Chapter 17 highlights one's faith. The word Shraddha is used, but one's faith, deeper than that, is one's nature, and more shallow than that is one's actions. Let me elaborate. You've all heard the saying, "Tell me who you love, and I'll tell you who you are." Do you agree? Who you love, who you look up to, shows the kind of person you are. Yes? Okay. Here's another way to know who we really are. How we feel when we're with or around mean people. I want you to think of the last time you were with someone who is utterly selfish. What were you feeling with them? How did you behave with them? That will show who we are, isn't it? That's why when we're in satsang, this is a controlled environment. Everyone's smiling at each other. Everyone's pretending to write notes right now. But when you're with people who, for the sake of conversation, are dussangis, can you still be in satsang? And if yes, that is one's strength. But if no, more training is needed. That is how we'll know who we are. Bhagavan Krishna uses the framework of our nature expresses as faith, and our faith expresses as actions. Swabhava, Shraddha, Karma. Nature, faith, and actions. In this chapter, Bhagavan's trying to help us understand who we are even more deeply. Chapter 16 was about that. Chapter 17 is the same, but just oriented differently, using a different framework. This chapter is introduced with a question by Prince Arjuna, and this will be one of the shlokas we will highlight. This is shloka 1 of chapter 17. Ye shastra vidam utsrijya yajante shraddhayanvitaha tesham nishtha ka Krishna sattvam ahorajastamaha. Prince Arjuna says, Arjuna Vacha, those who transgress, those who break the injunctions of the Shastra Vidhi, this is what the scriptures say to do, Utsrija, they don't follow that. Yet, Yajante Shraddhayanvita, they still engage in dedication, in sacrifice, and they do this with their own faith. So not following the scriptures, but engaged in dharma, with their own nature, faith, etc. Tesham nishtha tu ka Krishna. Bhagavan, what is their conviction, their nishtha? What is their feeling when they're acting? And really, Prince Arjuna is asking not so much about the feeling, what will be their fate? Is this sattva or rajaha or tamaha? Is this going to be calmness, or is this going to be aggressiveness, or is this going to be laziness? Okay, so this is Prince Arjuna's question. As we study more, this will become more clear. Shraddha creates phala. Your faith will lead to your fruits. Your faith will lead to your fruits. So if you think of today, if you think of this week, this month, etc., etc., what are you experiencing? If you're experiencing calmness, then that shows the phala is the calmness, your Shraddha is sattvic. If you're experiencing aggression, and all forms of aggression, that is the phala which shows that your Shraddha is that of rajas. So I may go to our Chinmaya Mission Center on Sunday, and I may organize this and facilitate this and talk to people like this, but if I'm agitated, that is the phala which shows that my Shraddha is of the same nature. And if what we're experiencing is laziness, no inspiration to wake up, no aspiration to be better, then again, outwardly, I can be engaged in what appears to be very noble, but that is tamasic. So Shraddha creates phala, and I'm asking all of us, what are we experiencing? Please note, I'm not saying, what are we getting? What are we getting? Because you may get praise, but if you feel you don't deserve that, then the praise is secondary, what you're feeling is primary. You may get promoted, but if you did this by cutting someone else's throat, so externally, you have this sattvic phala, but what are you experiencing? You're not experiencing that calmness, correct? So it's not about what you're getting, it's about what you're experiencing. At the end of a jnana yajna, everyone comes and receives prasad, and those people who are dedicated to that jnana yajna, they were there, they were awake, they were taking notes, they don't even care about that prasad. They've already received it. But another person, who happened to just be there because other people are there, when they get that prasad, they feel very bad about it. I don't deserve this right now. Both got prasad, but what they're experiencing is quite different. So this Shraddha leads to karma, Shraddha leads to phala, but this Shraddha is coming from our swabhava. So let's focus on this some. Nurture has made our nature. Nurture has created nature, making this more light. The way you think, that is your vrittis, goes on to manifest as your propensities or vasanas, correct? Vrittis create vasanas. I keep thinking like this. Eventually that becomes a habit or a vasana. Yes? Okay, we'll make this more light. In December of 2004, what happened? There was a worldwide tsunami, all over the world. How many humans died? Around 250,000. Lots of people had died. It was a very sad time in the world. How many animals died? Hardly any. Because animals are sensitive to nature. They felt the seismic waves, so what did they do? They all sought higher land. They went into the trees. Humans were taking selfies. And entire generations were lost because that sensitivity is very different now. Animals are still sensitive to nature. Now we're sensitive to profit and loss, isn't it? We don't have this fight or flight syndrome to be so strong anymore like an animal does. Whereas back in the day it was quite strong when we lived as cave people, when we lived in the aranya, then that fight or flight syndrome was very strong because those were our fears. Constant nurture became nature. Now our nurture is different, so our nature is becoming different also. So our Shraddha, our faith, is almost like nurture, and nurture becomes nature. So that Shraddha deepens to become one swabhava. Now here's where you have to try to interpret this practically Why is Bhagwan teaching all of this? Because Bhagwan's almost done his teaching now. One more chapter to go. He's trying to guide Prince Arjuna to the right karma. How? Have the right Shraddha. How? Have the right Swabhava. And Prince Arjuna, you can change this. You thought in chapter 2 that you cannot change. But I've taught you how. In chapter 16, I called this Sampatti. In this chapter, I'm calling it Shraddha. Prince Arjuna, you can change. This is the most revolutionary guidebook when it comes to evolution. This Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Most revolutionary in giving people the power to create their personalities. Sanatana Dharma is purely about evolution, which is why we have so many frameworks, like the gunas, like the Devi Sampatti, the Asurik Sampatti, and on and on and on. Many other religions, many other scriptures will not give that power of evolution to the people, to the seeker. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is most definitely about that. Prince Arjuna, my final message is about to come. Now you do what you feel is right. He's leading up to that right now. We continue to 17.4 to 17.7. Yesterday, my sisters and I were catching up. I don't get to see my older sister very often, once or twice a year. My younger sister once a month. And I had asked my sisters, if you could relive any day in the history of humanity, not including your own lifetime, so it has to be before your lifetime, what day would it be? And I can't remember what my younger sister said. I think she had said something in the 1920s. Something not important. My older sister really surprised me. And she said, I would like to relive the day when Bhagwan Rama came back to Ayodhya on Diwali. And that was really surprised me that she was thinking about that. And I thought I would like to be present in that 1 week. I don't care which day, but in that 1 week when Shukadev was teaching Raja Parikshita in the Aranya. So thousands of others are there in the most lofty satsang. So you think about this too. What day would you relive? And then my younger sister said, what kind of people are most scary to you? And that made me also think, or made us think about our prejudices. Right? No one's intrinsically scary. There are some people, but generally people aren't intrinsically scary. So your prejudices come out. And this question that we were exchanging with each other really shows us who we are, isn't it? The day you want to relive, who you're scared of, it shows you who you are. And now Bhagwan has said, whoever you are, you should grow, Prince Arjuna. And he starts to share how. And he says that if you want to be better, Prince Arjuna, if you want to be the best, you need to have the best role models. You need to have the best satsang. If I want to change my swabhava, which affects my shraddha, which affects my karma and phala, I need to have the best role models. And this we've thought about many times. Here I'd like to add emphasis on quality will always supersede quantity. Many times I've shared with all of you that you should engage in CSI towards your own contemplation room, towards your own altar. Clean your altar, simplify your altar, inspire your altar. Make sure it's clean, simple, inspiring. That if you have an icon of Bhagwan, your Ishtadevata, your personal God, and an icon of your Sadguru or the Guru Shishya Parampara, through that focus, immerse yourself, become that, rather than having this quantity. So many Bhagwan, so many gurus. When you think about role models, think deeply about who you're surrounding yourself with. And the deeper you connect with someone who is noble, deeper that impact will happen on your own swabhava. Don't be a spiritual shopper, is what I'm trying to say in simple terms. So Bhagavan says, if you want to be the best, you have to have the best role models. He says, if you want to be the best, you have to have the best food also. Now everyone's interested. Yes, do tell us about the best food. For your own reference, this is taught in Shlokas, chapter 17, Shloka 8 through 10. If you want to know more about the quality of food and how it affects you, read these shlokas. Chapter 17, Shloka 8, 9, and 10. Bhagavan is saying that anything you input, you are also going to output. In very general terms, if I have an apple, the most, or the tamasic part of this apple, I will excrete. I will defecate, urinate, etc. The rajasic part of this apple becomes my body, breath, etc. The sattvic part of this apple becomes my mind, intellect, and so on. So if I want to change my swabhava, I should have the right role models. If I want to change my swabhava, I should eat the right food. You are what you eat. And Bhagavan has taught all of this earlier. He's saying this again. That every part of our multiverse is governed by the gunas. Calmness, aggressiveness, laziness. And for me personally, where this is most impactful is the period of the day. There's periods of the day, there's a sattvic period, a rajasic period, tamasic period. If one wants to change their swabhava, they have to train themselves to become a morning person. You cannot change significantly without becoming a morning person. That sattvic period. Bhagavan continues sharing how we can evolve. And Pujaswami Tejamayana calls this portion, I've used the word evolved, he's saying this is the tips to success. And the three aspects that are needed for success, for evolution, are yantra, tantra, and mantra. You need to have the right yantra, right tantra, and right mantra. So simplifying, yantra means equipment. Yantra means equipment. I drove in a car to come here, that's a yantra. I used a hairbrush, that's a yantra. You have to have the right equipment if you want to evolve. Now the right equipment here means having a healthy body, no? That's an equipment. Having the right Zoom code for Bhagavad Gita class, that's also a yantra. Then tantra is the right technique. If you want to evolve, you have to have the right technique on how to evolve. So I have this car, but I don't know how to drive. Then that car is useless, correct? The right technique is needed also when we were in school. We learned how to brush. You have to make circles and you have to flip like this, correct? Now who actually learns that? So now we just buy toothbrushes that vibrate. Let the toothbrush do all of the work. But if you brush with the wrong technique also, then you have poor dental hygiene. And the right mantra. This is the most important. The right mantra is the right purpose. Why do you want to change? Why do you want to evolve? What is your purpose? Because purpose pulls performance. Why purpose is most important? Because when it comes to raising a child, we may not have the right yantra or the right tantra, but if the right mantra is there, that we love our child, you will be a fine parent then, correct? You can have the right yantra and right tantra, the equipment and technique, but if you don't love your child, then you cannot raise your child then, correct? So for evolution, think yantra, tantra, mantra. What is yours? Bhagavan keeps giving these most practical frameworks. So he tells Prince Arjuna, if you want to evolve, have the right role models, eat the right food. More specifically, yantra, tantra, mantra. More specifically, he says, now use this yantra, tantra, mantra for yajna, tapa, dana. All we do in our lives should be directed towards yajna. Yajna means serving. Tapa means investing. And dana means sharing. Yajna very literally means sacrifice. A better word is dedication. In the form of a verb here, means serving. When you go to work, do you go there for work or do you go there to serve? When you have study groups with your family, washing your car, living a life of service doesn't just mean volunteering. Serving. One's whole life should be yajna. And the more one immerses themselves in that, the more one focuses on tapa. Tapa is, in a more superficial sense, conserving energy. In a more deep sense, it's investing in these equipments, body, mind, intellect, so that I can engage in the last part more, which is dana, sharing. Schools like Yale and Harvard and very prestigious schools, they have these huge endowment funds and they're invested well, these funds, so they give scholarships on interest, or at least they tell us they give scholarships on the interest only, correct? But if they invest poorly, you can't share very much. So in this portion of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna is saying, make sure you look after yourself. You have to love yourself to be able to share yourself. Serving, investing, and sharing. To wrap up 17.1 to 17.7. Right now I'm in Florida, shifting between Tampa and Orlando. A little while ago I was in Portland, Vancouver, Seattle. And I got to meet a lot of our Bhagavad Gita course students. And many of them were telling me about a very dreadful part of their life. The questionnaires. And they were sharing how these questionnaires are focused on grammar. And these questionnaires are focusing on, length of writing, too long, too short, and so on and so forth. And I'm not directly involved in analyzing your questionnaires. I can be. I choose not to be. Udasina, sitting above your questionnaires. This is not a grammar course. This is not a rush through each questionnaire course. You're also thinking, you read our minds. We also know this is not a rush through questionnaire course. But don't let the questionnaires force you into coming back to this secular mindset. We already have to have a secular mindset when it comes to our professions, towards living in the neighborhood, and on and on and on. Bhagavan Krishna is the master teacher. And so as he's teaching, take these teachings and let them be in your mind. Let them move around in your mind until you find a way to live this. Whether you can write about this or not is not relevant. Whether you can speak about this or not is not relevant. But keep holding these teachings. In my life, I never make immediate decisions. When someone says, can you do this? Can you not do this? How do you feel about this? I always give some time, and usually longer periods of time, longer than what people expect based on their timeline, but it doesn't matter to me. They give me this, I keep it in here, and I just let it move around in my mind until I feel that I've given this enough attention. I feel that Bhagwan's Kripa is now there also. And then I make that decision. And it's helped me a lot. It's brought a lot of peace into my life. And so I'm sharing with all of you as we're completing our Bhagavad Gita course. This is class 45. Let these teachings be in your mind. Let these move around in your mind. You've given this attention. Bhagwan has given this attention. You will find clarity, and then you commit to that clarity. Oh.